Man, we really dicked down them dogs this week.
Damn right we did.
You've been waiting to say that.
Get them Huskies the fuck out of here.
You've been waiting to say it.
Bring in the next dog.
Well, and the thing is, you say, get these Huskies the fuck out of here. From the story I heard from my son, who was at the game yesterday.
We got a fucking win, first of all.
Okay.
Story
That's
time.
fine. That's fine. That's
Celebrate
fine.
that before
Yes.
we get into how
I agree.
shitty their
I
fucking
agree.
fans were.
First win of the
About
Matt
as
Rule
shitty
era.
as
Let's
their
go.
team was.
So apparently their fans are dicks. Ryan and his girlfriend were sitting in that upper portion where the visiting section typically is. Obviously, they don't bring a ton of fans, so they give the tickets back. Ryan and her got tickets from there. They apparently are huge assholes where they were like buying Runzas and then they would take the wrapper and ball it up and like throw it at Nebraska fans the entire game.
Why?
They were telling the fans that, or they were yelling and screaming that our program is a joke and we need to just stick to volleyball and all this other crap. And they were just being huge dicks to
Because
everybody.
they can recognize that we have a really good volleyball team.
But it's like, you're Northern Illinois.
Yeah, what do you have to be dicks about?
I said this to Ryan.
And why
I
are
go,
you giving our program money and coming to the game if
Yeah.
you're just going to be assholes the whole time?
I was like, if they acted like that, then clearly they thought that they were gonna come in and win. As far as the fans, that is. Maybe not
they
the
did.
team, I don't know. But clearly those fans thought they were coming in to dick us. Like,
It doesn't make sense, though.
I know. I was so confused when he told me that story this morning.
Oh.
I'm like,
I was like,
really?
disgruntled. That sucks.
Like, on the list of bad fans,
Especially for as
would Northern Illinois be on that
as
list?
fun
Wouldn't
of
even cross my fucking mind. They don't matter. They don't matter at all.
Especially for as fun of a game as that was. I mean, we got our first
for
win of the
us.
season. That's what I mean. To have
Yeah,
it
but you know what?
ruined
It
like
makes
that.
sense. They're the Huskies. I don't know if you've ever spent time around a Husky.
Yeah.
They're mouthy little dicks. So, I'm sorry, you mouthy little dicks, but you
think-
lost. You lost badly. You got embarrassed. You got pushed around both sides of the ball.
We're
Fuck
like,
you.
We're like 4 minutes into this, and we've said dick how many times?
I don't know. This one's getting the explicit content fucking vibes
Yeah.
real fast.
Right off the bat.
But yeah,
It was super weird.
that is weird, but I don't even give a shit. Like
No, I agree, but
I
I'm
wasn't
just saying,
there.
like,
It sucks for Ryan that he had.
Yeah,
and
that's
it
what I
looked
mean.
Like he was in the south west corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
It looked like he was very close to their fan section.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
That's probably the suckiest part about the day, though, because the game was awesome.
I mean, Runza rappers aren't really going to hurt you. It's
No,
not like,
but-
it's not like they were putting rocks in there. Like they're not Colorado fans. No, they're just dicks. They're not.
or the
fuck
Runza
faces.
was still in there. I mean, like, in
Hey,
the wrapper.
throw Runza
Yeah,
at me all
you-
day. I'll
you
eat
throw
the
runs
fuck out
at
of
me.
it.
Sounds great.
I love
Put it
Runzas.
under my shoe.
I love Runzas. No, they can be classified as dicks. They're not Colorado douchebags.
True.
So, man, we got to win. I'm super excited.
Fuck yeah.
I'm so happy for Matt Rule. I did not know
see that
this.
game ball video?
I
Trev
did see the
Albertson?
game ball.
Ah, that
I
was
shared
so
it on our
cool.
Twitter.
Yeah.
It's
I'm just
fucking
saying.
awesome.
Love that.
Very, very cool. There are several guys that could have gotten that game ball. One of which would be our backup quarterback, Heinrich Haarberg, who first Nebraska boy to start a Nebraska game.
You labeled him as the backup quarterback.
Well,
I'm just saying.
you can't
Just
lose
saying.
your starting job based on an injury.
I agree with you. I was just saying.
And the way this coaching staff is talking about it, it doesn't seem like he's losing the starting job.
Correct.
That's
Sims, that is.
Sims, yeah. I think Haarberg played a great game.
He did.
He definitely would have deserved the game ball in this situation. He was our leading rusher. He was obviously our leading passer. The offense flowed from him through everything.
And he took care of the ball.
You know, one of the big stats that stuck out to me at halftime. We didn't have much to speak of when it comes to passing yards at halftime, but he'd already thrown the ball to 5 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
He spread the ball around, and that's not something even Sims has done in his previous 2 games. And yes, was Northern Illinois' defense a lesser defense than what we'd faced so far at Minnesota? Definitely Minnesota, but I would say so at Colorado, at least in a couple of skilled positions. On the back end
At
of
least
Colorado's
comparable.
defense, they have some serious athletes.
It's hard to say because we could never really get our feet against Colorado.
True.
We didn't have any issue with that against Northern Illinois.
No.
After watching the Colorado State game last night, it kind of pains me to say this, but I think the moment was too big for us. The national attention and the
Definitely
stage
too big for Sims.
and everything. I think as a whole for the team, we were just on edge about everything. It was the Dion comments and the Shador comments and the disrespect and the personal and all this stuff that I would expect to get to lesser teams got to us.
But it didn't until things started to unravel.
I think it was there from the beginning.
We were right in that game until we started dropping the ball.
I agree with you
Literally.
on that, but it wasn't only the turnovers. That was a product of, I think, it being too big of a stage for us at this point.
Man, we talk about shitty fans one time, and we're back on the Colorado game.
Well, it's a draw to it, but the way that Colorado State was able to go in there last night and basically just say, we don't have a fucking thing to lose. Fuck you. You and your flashy bullshit. You're no more talented than we are. We're going to come in here and punch you in the mouth. And they did. They sent their most talented player to the fucking hospital. Literally in the first quarter.
That was a shitty play. But
It was a shitty play. I'm not saying that, but they didn't care. They were out there. They had like 17 penalties, I think, for damn near 200 yards worth of penalties in that game. They gave Shador 30 yards in overtime in penalties.
fuck Colorado. I don't want to
But-
talk about them anymore.
Anyway, my point is we could have played that game a lot better if we were more mentally tough. And that just kind of speaks to the needing to give Rule more time with this team. You can't take one off season and expect that you're going to erase all of the mental, basically PTSD that our players that have been here before have.
For sure.
They got to learn how to win, like he's talked about, and they got a big dose of that yesterday.
You said outside of obviously Rule giving out game balls, I would give one to Nash Hutmacher. That dude is an absolute
Beast.
force.
Some might call him a
Like,
polar
He's
bear.
a dude.
Most people do. Oh yeah, yeah. We say MJ Sherman. He's a dude in the offseason. No,
Nash Hutmacher is a dude.
Nash Hutmacher is a
Sherman
dude.
got a nice sack yesterday, too.
Like he was destroying that offensive line
Yep.
by himself.
Him and Ty Robinson were
Crazy.
They were pretty much doing whatever they wanted
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
Playing ragdoll.
and they were getting doubled almost every play. Mm-hmm. It was nice to see. It was fun to see it from beginning to end.
Outside of the last drive.
Didn't like the last drive, but like I
Yeah,
said,
whatever.
there was nothing but absolute scrubs in the game at that point.
And I got to be honest, just from where the program's been to getting our first win, I'm going to have a hard time being upset about giving up.
When's
points
the
at
last time
very
we
end
had
of the
a
game.
front-to-back, convincing, felt easy win?
Long
I mean,
time.
yesterday there was about 4 minutes in the first quarter when we had that turnover in our inside of our own 10, where
Yeah.
it was like, here we fucking go again.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I just
But
mother.
but you know what they did? They didn't. Here we go again.
Yep.
Yeah.
They stayed calm. The defense came out and absolutely ate their lunch, held them to a field goal, and that was all the defense let them do for basically the whole fucking game.
Yeah.
Until I'm going to take the last drive out of it. The defense played absolutely lights out.
That's a shutout. Outside
yes,
of the last drive.
absolutely. You take away our own turnover and the last drive, and that's 35-0.
Our own turnover that actually wasn't the quarterback's fault, which was kind of refreshing.
Well, it wouldn't be 35-0 because they did have 3 points earlier. But
No, I'm saying you take away our turnover; they weren't on our side of the
I'm
field.
sorry. I thought you were still talking about the last drive.
I don't
My
know if you
apologies.
can pull this stat or if you have this stat, but I don't know that they got on our side of the field more than just when they took over the ball from our turnover, and then in the last drive.
I can find it. Let's see. You mean got past the
Got past
midfield?
the 50. Yeah.
Okay. They ended. So they got the ball from the fumble. So after the fumble, you're saying they got to the Nebraska until the touchdown at the end. No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We literally
Defense.
didn't let them on our side of the field the whole fucking game on
Lights
the
out.
defensive side.
Yeah.
If you erase the fumble and you erase the last drive, they almost pitched a perfect game.
Yeah.
It's incredible how well the defense played top to bottom.
Yeah. Because even the 2 drives that they had before the fumble, they didn't cross the 50.
Yeah, it's wild to me. And before anything else happens for the rest of this year, please give Tony White a raise. Like, give him whatever the fuck he wants.
Do whatever you need to
Slap
keep him here.
associate head coach on his fucking title and bump him a couple mil because that dude is getting jobs. I'm serious. I don't care. Make him the highest paid coordinator in the country. I don't give a fuck. That dude's legit as hell.
Yeah, he is.
He put together a very arousing defense.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, and I'm not. I don't want to be too overreacting to this game, but we've been talking about this. Yes, the Colorado game statistically looked bad on paper after the game was over, but anybody who had eyes on that game saw an extremely dominant defensive effort.
If we didn't
For
put,
2.5 quarters.
Yeah,
if we didn't put the ball on the ground so much in that game, they don't have any points in the first half.
and not to go back to talking about Colorado, but watching the Colorado State game last night, Shedeur
He
Sanders
really wants to talk about Colorado for some reason.
Shedeur had 69 yards at halftime.
Nice.
Going into in overtime, they added on basically an extra 100 yards of offense and 2 scores.
Yeah.
So really, it was a very similar story to the Nebraska game where it was like they kind of just outlasted us, and Colorado State shot themselves in the foot enough, and that's exactly what we did. We just started earlier than Colorado State.
We started real early.
Yeah, but back to this game, like I said, it's a feel-good moment. It rules the first. This is the first opening game win at home for a coach since Bo Pelini. So at least we broke that one, broke that little streak. There was no lightning storm that canceled the game or anything like that. It felt good. The whole goddamn thing felt good. Felt a little awkward, the tunnel walk, because it was super long. but other than that,
I didn't see any of it as far as the tunnel walk and stuff.
The locker room's in a different place now.
Well, no,
so
yeah.
the tunnel walk itself.
Well, the locker room's in this. It's I guess the new building and stuff like that. They just shifted where they come out from. I know that.
yeah,
It's just
but they have
a
to
long
go.
walk.
They have to go a lot further than
Oh,
they
they
used
do?
to.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny because we actually got back to the house just in time to see kickoff. But we were listening to the tunnel walk went through on the radio, and
listened
they
to
were
the
like,
tunnel walk.
it was long enough that they were talking about how awkwardly long it was while the tunnel walk was still going on.
So that's here nor there. That's whatever.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it sounded like the crowd was electric. The crowd was loud.
And they stayed for the whole fucking game.
Yes, they stayed for the whole game. The videos and I know I tweeted out a couple different pictures from the third quarter break. It looked like fucking fun last night.
Absolutely. Everything I heard about that show was that it was just like it was the best that they've done. You know, obviously we had the Wisconsin game, Michigan game where they've done these shows before. They said this one by far and away was their best job.
It's fucking cool.
I don't know if it's just in general or the addition to the whole the drone
thing
is that they're adding to their.
So I talked to Dad, and so they sit on the second deck. Third deck, because there's 4 on East Stadium. They sit on the third deck all the way, like basically like end zone line, 10-yard line, kind of. That's where their seats are.
On the south side or the north side?
On the east side.
Well, I know, but
on the south. Sorry, on the south.
The south.
The southeast.
Okay.
Yeah, and they said they couldn't see the drone show at all.
Well, because it's in
So
that opposite corner.
It's on the
though.
outside, yeah. So they need to bring that shit in or add a second one. I don't know. But half your fans couldn't see it.
Yeah.
So fix that. But other than that,
Literally anybody on the east side wouldn't have been able to see that.
Yeah.
And hell, even people that would be blocked on the south, those really all the students, even the ones that go up on the south stadium, probably can't see it.
Their drones are there for
I-
pictures.
I know.
No, I get it.
I really
it'll
don't
look
care,
good on
I'm just
TV.
saying. Yeah.
It looks cool, but that's a graphic they can do on TV, and we wouldn't know that they weren't there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Either way, super cool stuff that's going on, and like I said, it was just a feel-good moment for the program.
Yeah.
Needed.
Take a deep breath. You don't have to feel nervous for a game. You don't have to feel angry after a game. Mm-hmm. Although I think there's going to be people who find a way to be angry this week.
Of course.
Because of what I think could be a quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
You don't want it to be just simply from the fact that you don't want a guy to lose his job due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the greatest football players of all time and by far and away the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, was born out of an injury situation.
Yep.
You can't say no to the fact that Haarberg played a great game, very under control, looked sharp and decisive in what he was doing. He was efficient.
He lived up to the starting role.
He lived up to the starting role in an extremely simplified version of the offense where he wasn't asked to do a ton against an opponent that wasn't very good.
Inferior opponent, yes. There is that delicate balance there. I'm not going to take anything away from Haarberg and how he played because he played very, very well. But then when I say the other parts, people are going to be like, "What, you think he didn't play good?" and blah, blah. It's like, no. It's just that you have to put things into perspective, and there are differences. Rule brought it up in the post-game press conference about how, the teams that the teams and the situations that Sims started on the road against Power 5 teams, back-to-back weeks to start the season, no, ramp up to the season, you just go immediately.
Well, and the hype and the scrutiny and the
That's
media
a much
attention to the Colorado game especially.
Yeah. It's a much tougher situation than what Haarberg went into against Northern Illinois. Again, that's not diminishing what Haarberg has done.
No.
But there are drastic differences between the two scenarios. But I wonder, so you brought up the possibility of a quarterback controversy. I think it's more in the fans than it is in that locker room.
I think it's entirely with the fans.
It's absolutely with the fans. I don't think that there was, Rule was asked in his post-game presser. He was basically asked, in a roundabout way, he even said, the fans are going to want to know if Sims is healthy, is he still your starter? And Rule basically, coach speak, walked around it and said, we feel really comfortable about where we are. We feel really comfortable with both guys out there. He didn't say no or yes, really. But also, at the same time, he said it even previous to this game, Sims is the starter if he can be the starter. Yeah. If he's healthy enough to be the starter, he will be the starter. And I think that's going to be true until like I've said before, if he goes out there beginning of this game against Louisiana Tech, which we've already said is a lesser opponent than what Northern Illinois is. Yeah. If he goes out and the offense looks like shit, this is a close game or we're down, and he has a couple more turnovers in the first half, I think if you don't replace him in the game at that point, you're going to start seeing the fans leave.
Absolutely.
You're going to start seeing displeasure.
Or you're going to be hearing them.
Oh, you're going to hear it for sure.
Yes.
But Sims is still going to at least get the opportunity.
I agree.
I
think he has to.
I don't see Matt Rule just kowtowing to the fans and
no. And the fact that he was dressed and ready to be the 3 if need be,
the emergency guy.
Yeah, it speaks to me that he was probably close, and they just decided, nah, you know what? Let's give you a full week off.
Yeah,
let's rest you right. He also didn't practice until Thursday. It didn't sound like, so let's get back to it next week. If he practices all week, he has to start.
And that was one of the reasons why I did not think he was going to play last week when we did our preview show. Is like, I kind of think that he's not going to play mainly just as precaution because they don't necessarily need him. Yeah. Let's just give him another week off, see where we're at with this upcoming week going into the Louisiana Tech game. Maybe he'll need another week off. I don't know. But
I sure hope not, because you can't have your first game back be Michigan.
I agree. That's my fear.
If you're going to sit him this week, just go ahead and sit him next week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, because
you're going to have
confidence.
You're going to have 2 straight games of Haarberg having really good games against inferior opponents. Yep. Then you're going to throw Jeff Sims back out there against one of the best teams in the entire country,
where he's probably going to have to play from behind.
Fans might pull a goalpost down at that point.
Yeah, I agree. I think Sims has to play this week.
Yeah,
I think he'll be healthy enough too.
Yeah.
Like, he was suited up. He's obviously not hurting bad enough to where he couldn't go in if needed.
It was funny. So my family always goes up to the North Shore for the games, and I went up there because I worked a little bit late, so I was at home for the first quarter, and then I went up there in between the first and the second quarter, and I got up there, and by then they had already had the fumble by Haarberg and all that stuff, and my first person I'm talking to is my dad, and he's like, Haarberg has looked really good, and my dad's wanted to give the Nebraska kid a shot, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care where he's from. If he's good, cool.
I don't give a shit where he's from.
But he was talking about the fumble, and he's like, but that wasn't really his fault. I'm like, well, if it was Jeff Sims, you probably would have said it was his fault. I was being a huge dick to him, so I just like, and he's like, oh, no. I go, Dad, relax. I'm just fucking with you. But then
you got to be aware of your pocket.
But then, absolutely. But then after the game, we were talking, and kind of the same thing what we were just talking about. He was like, Haarberg played so well, this and that. I looked at him, I go, if Sims is healthy, he's the starter. He's like, oh, I don't know this. And again, not diminishing anything, but Sims is still the starter.
Previous seasons, we've talked about it. Nebraska fans love to fall in love with the backup quarterback. It's Brooke Behringer. Look all the way back.
After the first game, Nebraska fans love to fall in love with the quarterback that's not here anymore, Casey Thompson.
Yeah, anybody who's not the current starting quarterback,
exactly.
Unless we're absolutely killing people.
Yeah.
Yes,
but I don't understand the criticism of Sims past the turnovers. There's so many people that are he's people pointing out that he looks cross-eyed sometimes when he's sitting on that. Like what? The fuck are you talking about?
Most of the
Shut
criticism
up.
is justified because he hasn't played great.
No, he hasn't played well at all.
Not done well.
Yeah, he's still the starter. I'm sorry to burst everybody's bubble.
He's
but
still the most
starter.
talented guy that we have to play quarterback.
Yep.
Now,
Period.
that said, if he continues to turn the ball over,
Yes.
You have
to
to
change.
you have to-
Absolutely.
Because Haarberg protected the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had one fumble, but that was a pretty solid strip sack they just got there in a play that was developing way too fucking slow.
And he had, I'm just thinking about this, so I'm probably not going to get the number right, but he only had like maybe 2 passes that were like, where you
Well,
kind of.
he had the one that he sailed really far over, but it was also sailed really far over in a place where nobody else was going to get that ball.
Yeah.
He wasn't putting the ball in bad places.
Mm-hmm.
He threw the ball behind a couple different receivers. There was one that he missed Kemp pretty bad behind him. In live action and from the angle of the camera, it didn't look bad. But then they showed the backside of the pass, and Kemp's reaching back here as he's running this direction. That's not going to work. Stuff like that, those are timing things too, that because he hasn't, all preseason and everything, he's not taking snaps with those one wide receivers.
Yeah.
That's also why you'd think that Haarberg being in the game, you'd see some more of those freshman targets. And we're just why we're not seeing them, I don't know.
I'm confused by it. But
Especially since they're in the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
We're eating up that game time, and they're not even getting looked at.
No.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say. I started
Watermelon.
something else. My bad.
No, you're good.
What the hell was I going to say? Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway.
Watermelon. Let's get into the questions. How well did we do last week?
One of us at this table did fucking amazing.
Was it Matthew?
It was Matthew.
Pessimistic pitch.
Wait, dang it.
The thing that I think I got the most wrong, just not even necessarily from our show, but just talking to people pre-game, I had thrown out the score 35-3 in a chat that I'm in, and I felt very proud of that until that last drive. But I thought we were going to be able to run the ball all over them.
Yeah,
the offensive line.
You were talking crazy.
Well, I expected us to put up 35 points and barely throw the ball and be able to run the ball all over them, do whatever we wanted to. I thought Gabe Irvin looked both slow and indecisive when picking holes and trying to get out there. Our offensive line figured it out in the second half just because we were bigger, faster, stronger than them. But the offensive line looked like shit in the first half.
The offensive line is regressing.
It seems
As
like
the
it, yeah.
season is going on. I'm not talking from last year to this year because they're still better than last year. But as this season is going on, you would think they'd be getting better. They're not.
Yeah.
It's
It's
almost
like the left side is starting to infect the right side.
that's what I was
Yes.
just going to say. Like the first game, they played pretty well.
Yeah.
Most of the second game, they played pretty well. And then it was like, okay, well, but that left side, Piper and Corcoran are not playing well. And
I could feel it.
Then
BJ's
it's like-
starting to wind up to start shitting on his special team.
Well, Bryce Benhart played a pretty solid game yesterday outside of like 2 or 3 plays. And those 2 or 3 plays, like he let one guy basically run free because he just didn't put in the effort. And that's something that I think we're still seeing that all across the line. Even Ben Scott, he had a super lazy holding call in the third quarter that killed the drive for us. And it's stuff like that I'm like, this brotherhood, the things, things haven't gone well for them. So the whole philosophy of preaching the brotherhood and those things like that, I'm wondering, okay, cool, you love each other, neat, but are you holding each other also accountable?
Yep.
Are you helping each other grow, or are you just patting each other all on the back? Mm-hmm. Because Corcoran has been god-awful, terrible at left tackle the whole season. Mm-hmm. We're only 3 games in, but 3 games is a big enough sample size to say, you're not a left tackle. No. Stop playing left tackle.
Well, he's a guard.
Yeah. He's an interior offensive lineman. I get that.
We need a second actual tackle.
We need Teddy Prohaska to get up to game speed. And from what Damon made mention of on the pregame show before this game, it sounds like he's healthy. He just ain't up to speed.
It sounds more mental than physical.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's do you trust your body, A, and do you know the shit you need to do?
That's another one where this coming game, he's got to be in there, or we won't see him until after the Michigan game.
Get some of those guys some game time reps, some game speed reps to be able to get in there and do stuff.
Yep.
And don't wait until the end of the game. You have the ability in this game to play with some of those types of things. If this opponent is as weak as we think they're going to be, get him in there. There's no reason not to, or try some other stuff at least.
Yeah.
We have other guys available. Try them out there because Corcoran has been fucking terrible.
Yeah, it's been really bad.
When you're getting beat off the edge by guys from Northern Illinois, and I know Rule prefaced before the game, he said, their best unit on their whole team is the defensive line. Cool. That doesn't help me feel better about the fact that Northern Illinois defensive line is beating up on the Nebraska offensive line for the first half of a football game.
Yep. I'm not going to give the records out until the end because I actually do have the updated records so far on the season, so we can talk about that when we're done. First question was Nebraska pass plays of 20-plus yards. Wait, before I go into the questions, I'm sorry. I did want to ask you guys, because we were talking to defense, and I teased you guys the question before we started recording. How many missed tackles do you think Nebraska had, according to Pro Football Focus, in that Northern Illinois game?
I don't think it was that many.
No.
I guess 5, and I feel like it might be high.
I originally said 1 when you asked this pre-show, but I'm actually going to go with 0.
3.
3, okay.
Right in the middle. Nice.
But I don't remember if I texted you guys this, but I texted a couple other people, and I was talking to people up at the bar. I don't remember the last time I saw a Nebraska football team.
It's astounding.
Tackle this well.
Yes.
Yeah.
From the start of the season and consistently. And I'm just,
and it just seems
I'm
to be
flabbergasted by it.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing this for a very long time.
It doesn't seem so. What we're seeing actually just to me feels like something that should be common sense, but it's also not something that I recall talking about at all in the last 10 years. The amount of speed that we have on defense, there were 2 or 3 different times in the game yesterday where he had a guy that we brought some pressure, and he had a guy swung out that in the screen, in the shot on TV, there was no Nebraska players. And he caught it, and it's one of those that in the past you would think, oh, shit, this might be a touchdown play, or oh, shit, they're going to gash us for 40 yards here. This is going to be a bad one. And within milliseconds, there's 3 to 6 guys in the screen, and he's getting stopped at the line.
Well, and the other
It's
thing
insane to me how fast everyone on our defense seems to be, and it's like they're all playing a video game. They all can see the whole field at the same time.
Yeah.
And the moment the ball's released, they're all of a sudden instantly turn around and running that way.
And in the past, we would see, lots of hats come to the ball, but it's because we needed them to come to the ball because we were always missing
throwing
tackles.
bodies at a problem.
Now, most of the time when these 4 guys come to the ball, the guy's already being tackled. It's like they're almost just there to help people up.
There was a dude last night.
It's crazy.
There's a dude last night that caught a ball on a swing out that had Luke Reimer beat. And Reimer smacked his left foot with his hand, and it caused him to turn just enough that it looked like he grabbed literally the bottom of his shoe for a split second long enough. But then it was like,
enough time.
Then there's 5 dudes that are smoking you when he should have had probably 10 yards on that play.
Hell, Nebraska's so good at tackling. The very first sack, we didn't even touch him. Like, that's how good a tackle is.
That's the one that I told you missed. Lombardi, that was so fucking funny. He had ran to the restroom, and I was like, dude, at the end of that, because that was actually on our fumble. That was when they took it over. It was
yeah.
on third down. It was like third and goal from like the 6 or something like that. And Lombardi backs up, and both of our outside guys, the contain guys, are there. They're about to get free to get to him, and it was literally looked like somebody had a 2x4 and ran out there and just whoop. He swiped his legs out from underneath him.
He stepped up, and then as he was trying to step back again, his leg just slipped right out. And
it was one of the funniest things. It looked like video game shit or something that like a glitch. Oh, there's a glitch in the Matrix. It was so fucking funny. And he just got up. He kind of laughed about it himself.
Yeah, he did. As he was jogging off, he had a big smile on his face.
That's some real impressive.
Husker speed.
They were so fast we didn't see
it. I gotta give a little tip of the cap to him. He got absolutely beat to shit in that game, and he kept getting up, and he was respectful. He had a smile on his face the whole time. He was not being a dick to people.
No.
From a sportsmanship perspective, the team, not the fans, it sounds like, but the team, this felt like one of the old school, hey, we're paying you $1 million to come in here and get dick stomped.
Yeah.
Say thank you and go home. Mm-hmm. It's been a while since we had one of those games actually go this way and feel good. I'm over the moon happy about it.
It was funny the way you talk about him just continuing to stay in there and play. There were so many times in that game where he was looking over the sideline. He's like, I don't know what you guys want me to do. Yeah. Everybody's covered. There's 3 dudes breathing down my neck. Yep.
So also on defense, we've talked about this for now 3 games. The amount of players that they play on defense. They had 27 guys play at least double-digit snaps.
That's insane to me.
And it was roughly 60 snaps for Northern Illinois' offense. We only had 3 guys play 40 or more snaps. Everybody else.
Think about how fresh you're staying.
That's what I'm saying. I was thinking about this the other day as far as the way that they're rotating the defense. One of the preseason questions was, will Reimer get 97 tackles to get second all-time tackles?
Not the way it's going now.
He's not going to have enough time.
Yeah. I mean,
he hasn't had more than 6 tackles in a game so far.
It doesn't mean that he's playing bad. He's just not out on the field enough.
Doesn't help that we're overloaded at his position.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but everybody's playing well.
Yes.
There's so many half tackles happening out there right now.
And we've got young guys playing really this defense could be scary good in a couple years. I think it's pretty damn scary good right now.
We have the second best rush defense in the country.
We're I was very, very worried about a total demolishing from Michigan this year. The more that I've seen our defense, and I still think we're definitely going to get beat by Michigan.
Yes.
I don't see us, especially watching the last 2 games that Michigan's played, I don't see them scoring a shit ton on us. I see it being like
an amazing defense. I don't know.
I see it being more like a 21-24 to like 7 type of game or some shit like that. Or maybe we get shut out if we have fucking 15 turnovers because their defense is amazing. But
yeah, it'll be a good test, how good our rush defense has been so far this season, and probably will continue to be next week against Louisiana Tech, who doesn't run the ball very well. It'll be a good test to see truly how good this rush defense is when we play Michigan and Blake Corum
and the rushing part of our defense was what everybody was so scared about with the 3-3-5.
Well, yeah, everybody was scared of the 3-3-5.
You're only putting 3 guys up front. You can't stop the run ever.
The 3-3-5 didn't really look like that much yesterday.
No.
There was a lot of 4 or 5 dudes coming.
We've talked about it before, the amoeba style of this defense. It's a positionless defense.
Yeah. The defense makes me think of, and I don't know anything about soccer, so this is going to be an obscure reference, but watching Ted Lasso when they implement the total football scheme, where it's just everybody moving around doing everything. So it's a great show. You should totally watch it. But it's an amoeba type play, and that's what the defense makes me think of. I told him yesterday, watch it. It looks like we always have more than 11 dudes on defense.
I agree.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And a lot of that's because of the speed.
Yeah.
A lot of that's
because of the
Husker speed.
Yes. Indeed.
All right, let's get into these questions. Nebraska pass plays of 20-plus yards. I had the number at 3.5. We had 3.
Who got that one right?
Me and the fans did.
Look at you.
You did not. One of the few that you did
wait.
not. Oh yeah, you're gonna be saying. I'm gonna be saying your name a lot. You, by the way, you took the over based solely off you thought Sims was going to play.
True.
I took the under solely because I didn't think Sims was going to play. So, question number 2, sacks by Nebraska's defense, 5.5. The total number was 3. We did have 5 tackles for loss, but we only had 3 sacks. Matt, you took the under.
They were getting rid of the ball so fast.
Yeah, they plan for our D-line being back there quite a bit.
Well, we got those 3 sacks in the first 2 or 3 possessions that they had, and then we didn't sack him again because he was like, nope, I'm not going down like this.
You were the only one to take the under, Matt. The fans took the over, but percentage, it was at 51% on the over. So they were like right
One
there.
person fucked you. One of you fucked you.
Joke's on you guys. I took the over online. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Question number 3, total punt return yards by Billy Kemp, headed at 19.5. He had 3 yards.
Okay.
2 returns for 3 yards.
All of their punts, and they had a lot of punts, they were all sky balls.
Yeah.
There wasn't any time.
You and I both took the under.
He did average, though, like 42 yards a punt. So he was up there in yardage.
40.9.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, he punted a lot.
It was
He
bigger than
punted
the
9
38 that had him at
Yes.
60 in
Yes.
the 60s.
Interceptions by Nebraska, 1.5. They got the 1. I mean, debatable on the second one.
They were right there on the second.
Fox
Exactly.
fucked me. I blame Fox.
Yeah, how the hell do you
And
not
their
have a
shitty
camera
camera
on the
angles.
line?
Mike was the only
I
one
love
that
that
took
they
the
even-
under on that one.
They even called that out on the broadcast. They're like, "Oh yeah, we didn't have the right camera angles there, so they really only can work with what they have." Dean Blandino even said that. I was like, "Oh, that's a bad call out."
But our guest Mike was the only one that took the under on that one, so he's the only one that got that one right.
Well,
job,
way to go,
Mikey
Nanfito.
Gabe Irvin rushing yards, 99.5. He had 67.
Speaking of Nanfito, he was geeking out during the game. He hit me up like 2 or 3 different times. He had to call Matt on the Billy Kemp, the first catch by Billy Kemp.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I had to figure out how to get a hold of Matt.
Especially after that touchdown, man.
I believe he called right before you sent the text. Is Matt splooging on the wall?
I was just over here making
I
a
said
mess.
spraying.
Oh, spraying on the wall. Sorry.
I was just over here making a mess at BJ's house. That's fine. That's why I didn't watch the game at home. I want to clean it up.
You didn't want to screw up your own walls.
Yeah.
Well, leather couches as opposed to cloth.
BJ, Matt, and Mike all took the under on Gabe Irvin rushing yards, so you guys got that one right. Northern Illinois yards per carry. Clearly, I fucked this number up. I put it way too high at 2.5.
Way too high.
Yeah, but that's going back to how amazing our defense is. Last year we were talking about the 4s, and we thought, are we putting this number high enough to put an over under in like the 4 to 4.5 range?
Yeah.
Our defense is fucking good.
Yep. They ended at 1.2 yards per carry. They had 26 total yards rushing. They lost 30 yards
I believe it.
total. So they had more negative yards than they did positive yards.
Well, they
That's
were, like I
crazy.
said, they were heading
least
into the last
ultimately,
drive. Heading into the last drive, they were at an even 1 yards per carry.
Same. Well, I was the only one who took the over on the 2.5, so I'm the dumbass. Question 7, Northern Illinois third down conversion percentage. I put it at 40%. It was 26.5 or 26.6, I guess, whatever. So again, we got them off the field, which has been our problem
Was
the first
important.
2 games. Yes. Everybody took the under, so we all got that one right. Anthony
Everybody
Grant
had a pretty good week.
yeah, compared to the first 2 weeks, yeah, but low bar. Anthony Grant carries 8.5. When I was initially asked the question and I was talking out loud to you guys on the show, I was trying to figure out what number. I think it was you that said 9 or 10. You said 7, so I had the number at 8.5. It was 7. So,
Oh, wow.
the problem is that you talked yourself into switching to the over.
Yeah. Yep.
So Matt,
I really thought our running backs in general would have more carries in this game.
Yeah.
We threw the ball a little bit more than I expected. I think some of that was truly giving him a test to see How are you going to handle these situations? What are we going to do?
That and shooting ourselves in the foot and having a 3rd and 15 and needing to throw the ball.
Yeah. Did that a
Having
couple different times.
Matt, myself, and the fans all took the under. My last question I had was first half points by Nebraska. We were all kind of talking about what this number should be.
And I fucked it up for everybody.
You pushed it up to the 16.5, which I agreed with the number.
Yeah.
But
it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It was on its way.
Yes. Obviously, it was 14 points. That's where your guys' shot bet is in. As far as the first drive of the game for Nebraska was going to be a touchdown. So I guess you owe him a shot.
I'll buy him a shot. I'll buy you 2. He's got a baby coming this week. He's gonna.
That was a nice that was a nice first drive.
Yeah, it was.
So Matt, myself, and the fans all took the under on that one, and overall for this week, Matt, you were 7-2 in the 9 questions.
That's gonna massively change your overall for the season.
We all had a decent week.
Yeah. BJ, you were not good. You were 3-6.
Except for you. You didn't have a decent week.
I was 5-4, and Mike was 4-5, and the fans were 5-4. So overall on the season so far through 3 weeks, we have 25 questions that we've done so far. Matt, you have 11 correct. I have 10 correct. You have 7 correct.
Jesus
The
Christ.
fans have 8 correct.
Woof. I'm gonna have to get a little more realistic.
This
is why I get so concerned when I agree with him when we go through stuff.
I love it. Listening back to the show, as soon as, because you usually pick first, and as soon as you do, you just hear Matt in the back, fuck.
It's just like in our handicapper league.
Yeah.
If I ever
he always
find
checks
out,
to see if I took certain games. He's like,
I'll literally
go
pull off of a game if I find out that he took
Although
it.
you didn't for the Nebraska game, and we both were right.
I felt pretty comfortable with the Nebraska game. But it's the exact same way. I'm like, oh, you took that game? I gotta find something
next.
else. I can't do it.
You're not even going to go the opposite way. You just don't want to touch the game at all.
No, exactly. Because even if he's going to be right, if I also take the game, then we're both wrong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking
that's the way it is.
Always works out unless you're playing Northern Illinois.
Yep. Or Louisiana Tech next week.
Yeah, I don't know.
And we obviously covered the spread. The overs did not hit.
No.
Weren't even close. But it was a good game.
Oh, wait. I thought the over-under was like 43. So it would hit.
No. Oh, shit. You know what? It did, actually. For some reason, I was thinking the 50s.
It was a backdoor
Yep,
over.
it was 43.5.
Yeah.
And it did hit because of the garbage time touchdown we gave up. It was dumb. But is what it is. I didn't like the garbage time touchdown. I didn't like the fact that we gave it up, but I also didn't, like I said, I won't fault them for trying to end on a positive note for their team.
I said in my prediction for the game, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what the score is. Just
did.
win the game. It could have been 2-0 for all I care. As long as we win, I don't care. So I understand what you're saying as far as the garbage touchdown. I just don't care. We won. Period. Done.
If Matt Rule keeps licking his lips that way,
dude,
we're going to be buying.
I didn't notice any of it.
We're going to be buying fucking stock in like Burt's Bees or chapstick or
yeah, it's
something
going to be like
that.
a giant tub of Vaseline
Jesus
on
Christ.
the sideline for him.
Whatever's going on with that, he needs to get that fixed, or he needs to hey, blur my face out while I'm on TV.
I'm telling you, it might have been the smoke or
Some
something.
shit like that. Yeah,
I didn't notice that the first 2 games of the season.
I actually saw all the fans in the stands were doing it too. It was crazy.
Doing what?
Licking their lips constantly. It was the smoke in the stadium.
I'm just trying to think of reasons why you look like you're fucking all drugged out on the sideline.
It was wild.
Are you sure you weren't watching the Frost coach from last year? Or?
That's honestly that was the thing that went through my face or through my mind was like
it went through your face
God,
too.
I've told stories and heard stories about the cocaine use of Scott Frost, but if we're gonna end up, that's the one thing that I'm just hoping and praying this isn't actually what's going on is that there's something there.
No, there's just something weird going on with his lips.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a perfectly simple explanation for it.
Yes, perfectly simple. Super chapped lips.
Maybe just quit looking at him so much.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
It's a fucking win. We got it.
Absolutely. First win of the Rule era, and there's going to be many more coming.
Yes.
And this may be the most unbelievable night in Cornhusker football history.